What's going on, guys? Wei from Revolution here with a very special guest. Well, first I should also introduce my co-host, as usual, Jeremiah Chan. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you, Wei?
And back to my very, very special guest, Christian Selmoni, a huge friend of mine, a huge tattoo fan as well. We share that in common, and it's something that we like to talk about as well. But we also love watches, and in particular the watches of Vacheron Constantin. And Vacheron Constantin, incidentally, Christian, is the winner of Best Brand of the Year from the Revolution Awards.
Oh, come on.
So congratulations, sir.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oh, this is great.
But dude, so well deserved. I mean, you had the most extraordinary launch of the year, this incredible once-of-a-lifetime launch in the Louvre. You had some of the best métier d'art watches ever created with this incredible tribute to the ancient civilizations in the Louvre. You had what I consider to be the greatest heritage revival in recent years, the relaunch of the iconic 222.
Yes, this one is really amazing.
I mean, you had, to me, one of the coolest sports watch complications of all time, which is the Overseas in titanium with a tourbillon. That thing was so amazing. So just based on that, I mean, clearly this is a Vacheron year. But let me ask you this, because I have noticed over the last 5 or 6 years an increasing momentum of creativity with incredible products across so many different categories, as we discussed. What is the secret sauce at Vacheron? Why are you guys so incredibly creative and dynamic?
So I don't think really there is a kind of secret sauce. In the last years, we have made, I think, great efforts in order to to be consistent in our watchmaking style. I think also we are a kind of generalist, if I may say, maison in the field of high-end watchmaking. So meaning we have several design expressions. So you mentioned some of them. We are more and more, I think, talking about also the legacy of the brand, the heritage of the brand, not from the, I would say, the historical point of view. It's very important to remind that Vacheron Constantin, I think, has always been very creative from the design point of view. And on top of that, I would say Vacheron Constantin has always been very much connected to the present moment, meaning in the 19th century, in the early 20th century. And these days, I think the success that you are describing is also due to the fact that we are very much listening to our clients and what they are expecting in 2022. So they are expecting watches like the Overseas Skeleton Tourbillon, which is super versatile, super high-end, and of course vintage like the 222. So I think this diversity yet consistency and coherence in general is something which is very strong, and we are going to carry on in this direction.
One other thing I want to mention, and maybe then after that I'll hand it over to Jeremiah because he has some specific questions about the Anatomy of Beauty exhibition that's here in Marina Bay Sands. But I have to say I have so much admiration for your CEO, Louis Verla. I mean, having met him during this wonderful moment at the Louvre and speaking to him at length, I realized that he has such an extraordinary consistency of vision.
Yes.
And really, what I love that he talked about is he didn't want to do everything. He just wanted to do, focus on specific things, but get them done really well. And I see that now also executed across all the different, as you guys call them, product families, where when we look at the Overseas, just the Overseas alone, you've got a watch like the Corey Richards. It's so cool. And it's such a grail now. And then you have a complicated watch like that. When I look at even complications, I mean, you're the only guys who are really hitting it consistently out of the ballpark with incredible technical innovation. I mean, to have a perpetual calendar goes from 1.5 to 5 hertz, depending on if you're wearing it or not. Nuts, absolutely nuts. And then to have the 222, that have beautiful classic watches like the Patrimony series, to have the historics, the 1921, and also the Corne de Vache. I mean, you guys now, your vision is clear. Yes. And Louis, he's a very impressive leader,
Yeah, well, what can I say? I think you're right. I was talking about the consistency in our efforts, and I think that you mentioned Louis, and I think, yes, absolutely we do. So he has a vision, and on top of that, he wants that vision to be achieved in terms of not only, we don't talk about products, let's talk about beautiful watches, right. But I think also in every aspect, and also I think for our maison, it was very important to communicate about who we are, where we come from, and what did we do in the past, what do we do today. So I think this is, for personally speaking, for me, it's great to be here, great to be here with you guys, and I think this exhibition is exactly talking about this.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, speaking about communicating brand values, we are always so excited when Vacheron comes to Singapore and holds an event, because you guys do the best events, right? And now there's an exhibition that's running at the level 4 of the ArtScience Museum here at Marina Bay Sands. It's called the Anatomy of Beauty.
Yes.
And there are 3 chapters in this exhibition. Maybe, Christian, you can just quickly walk us through these 3 chapters.
Yes, with pleasure. So Well, okay. The anatomy of beauty, what does it mean in a nutshell? So it means really the extreme care of all our watchmaker artisans, specialists, craftsmen that put in all the details. And as we know, God or the devil, depending who, is hidden in the details. And this is about this permanent quest for ultimate beauty, the beauty of craftsmanship. It's not about perfection; it's about beauty. So, okay, sorry for this long introduction. So we have three rooms here in Singapore. We start the tour of the experience with the heritage pieces. So we came with 24 heritage pieces, which are really cool, that are showcasing the diversity of Vacheron Constantin. So we are showing Métier watches, we are showing grand complications, we are showing skeleton watches, we are showing sports watches, pocket watches, observatory chronometers, etc. And so we start with a heritage wall in which we have those watches. Then we have the anatomy of beauty room in which we are showcasing, let's say, modern timepieces. So we have 32 modern Vacheron Constantin timepieces covering all the collections that we have. And we have one superstar in this part of the experience, which is one full set of métier d'art tribute to the great civilizations.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So happy that it's come to Singapore.
That you spoke about it way before, so that we revealed last spring within the Museum of the Louvre. So this is for the part 2, and the part 3 is a dedicated room to high complications based on 5 families of high complications, which are tourbillon, minute repeaters, or striking watches in general, split-second chronograph, perpetual calendars, and retrograde or flyback complications.
Amazing.
I mean, some of my favorites also, I think, Christian, you didn't mention, but there's also the 2005 Tour de Lille.
Yes.
Right, to celebrate the 250th anniversary of Vacheron Constantin.
We know the guy that bought that.
Incredible watch.
Yes, that was obviously, I think, this is super important timepiece. So we made seven of these highly complicated watches. So we have 16 complications on the 2 faces. And when we launched the Tour de Lille, actually, it was the most complicated wristwatch ever made in series. And we made 7 of them. And well, it's great because also I think it has been a cornerstone moment for Vacheron Constantin in 2005, when we really came back to grand complications, on legendary multiple complications. And I think it has been a kind of springboard for the development of the brand in terms of technicality.
Right, because we talk about 2005, the Tour de Lille, but in 2017,
Yes.
there was the Celestial Astronomical Grand Complication, and incidentally in 2017, you were appointed as Style and Heritage
Yes.
Director of the brand, but you've been with Vacheron since 1990, right?
Things like that, yeah, I'm not so sure.
So you've seen
Yeah.
over the decades,
Very much,
32
yes.
years as with the brand, you've seen how the brand has evolved.
Yes.
And how has your experience been, all this time working with?
How many hours do we have? No, in a nutshell, so I think, yes, for me it has been a great journey through Vacheron Constantin. And I would like first, I'm very grateful to Vacheron Constantin for so much time that we spent together. I think for me, it would be hard to summarize all these 32 years, but there was one thing that, like I said, I don't remember any morning which I woke up and say, oh my gosh, no, I have to go to Geneva. So it never happened to me. So it's just about joy of working. And I think what is great is, every day we discover new things, and we have still plenty of projects, ideas, things that we would like to develop. And I'm really proud to be part of that maison, if not family.
You are not just one of the longest serving brand advocates for any brand, but we regard you as one of the most dynamic as well. And since 2017 to 2022 as Style and Heritage Director, but we've seen just the overseas collection,
Yes.
right, just explode in popularity and demand. But with your experience of the depth of savoir-faire with Vacheron Constantin, can you maybe highlight to our viewers, what else is out there with the brand, or what else can they look forward to in the depth of the brand's collections?
Yes, okay, so besides Vacheron Constantin, so again, I'd like to point on the strength of Vacheron Constantin, which is to express its style in many different areas, okay? Concerning the collections, I still think that classic watches such as patrimony and traditional are just amazing. You are mentioning Wei a twin beat, you know, with the two oscillators. I think for me, twin beat is exactly showing what Vacheron Constantin is and will continue to be in the future. So the traditional, despite its name, in the case of the twin beat, we are very much mixing the classic style, traditional style of Geneva watchmaking, but in a very modern, from the technicality way, innovative way. And also we have, you know, a dial which is half cut. The upper part is guilloché by hand, so it's all about tradition, and the lower part is showing to you the two oscillators and the perpetual calendar. So this great combination of tradition and hyper-modernity is really something that we will carry on. So this is for, I would say, classic lines. I'd like to talk also about other important lines for us, which are really, for example, I want to mention Égérie, that we launched in 2020, our collection dedicated to the Ladies Genevas, which is doing fantastically well, and which also incorporates, you know, this kind of classic with a twist attitude, with the crown at 1 o'clock and some other design elements. And not to make that answer too long, so of course the historic with fabulous models from the past, like York on the Bash chronograph that we know very well, and of course the 222 or the 222 that has been I think fantastically revamped, so you know, kept in its flamboyant yellow gold from the 70s.
Fantastic.
But made with the most sophisticated technicality, especially when about the bracelet, which is like a second skin. So, you know,
well, I love the triple calendrier as well.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
So yeah, you know, I didn't want to take too much time.
Well, actually, no, let's continue on that because, well, first of all, also to the 222, it's a watch that is stunning to behold, but also wonderful, easy to live with as well.
Yep.
And I actually love the, you know, because people ask, okay, why don't you use the original caliber since, you know, the 2121? But for me, the quick date mechanism makes a huge difference.
Right?
Because honestly, it takes so long to change your date otherwise. And then in terms of, you know, two other collections, which I also really think represent this anatomy of beauty concept, two. One is Platinum Excellence and one is 56. So Platinum Excellence to me, and I was, you know, had the great pleasure of being in the launch in South Africa with you, right? When we went into a platinum mine, which was one of the craziest experiences of my life.
It's like 1,852 meters down Earth.
Incredible. But then, you know, when I look, for example, at this extraordinary split-second chronograph that you guys did with the in this Platinum Excellence collection, with this, you know, the signature solid platinum Grenet dial, you know, and then complemented by one of the most stunning movements of all time, this ultra-thin automatic split-second scale with the peripheral rotor. That is what high complication should be, you know?
Yeah, sure. You are mentioning the Platinum Excellence collection, which is in fact not a collection in a sense, a family of watches, but rather I would say a capsule kind of collection. So it's true that when we launched that concept in 2006, we came out with a very simple patrimony, 40 millimeter manual winding in platinum with that platinum dial, and I think that you know, kind of stealth monochrome aesthetics really makes the design shine. And I think that this is why we carry on with this capsule, which is absolutely great. Yeah.
When I first experienced the launch of the 56 collection in London, we went to Abbey Road. Like, no, I liked it. But then, you know what's amazing was, as the years passed, I started to love it. Yeah. And now it's incredible to see how the 56 has, in its own right, has become like a grail watch for a lot of people, especially
I think it's really resonated with, you know, the youth of today.
I do agree with you guys. Yeah. So I think the 56 was a very interesting attempt for Vacheron Constantin in the sense that we wanted to create a kind of retro contemporary timepiece or collection. Sorry. The idea is also to be able to wear a classic Vacheron Constantin maybe in a more relaxed way, if I may say, than compared with the traditional patrimony. Basically, that was the idea behind the collection. So that was a bit unexpected, I think, from Vacheron Constantin. But it's true that I feel exactly like you guys. On my side, I would say when I saw the triple calendar in rose gold with the brown dial that was 3 years ago now, I was just blown away.
Yeah.
So I said that this is the ideal a weekend timepiece when you wear the jeans and jacket.
Yep.
I still believe it.
Well, this is why we love Vacheron so much. You know, Christian, why do you love Vacheron so much?
It's a pretty good question. So actually, I never had that question. So I think because this is a maison which has a great history and a tremendous potential. It's a maison which is really living in the 21st century, and which is also able to maintain a very sensible and precious link with its legacy and heritage, while being totally relevant from today.
I totally agree, and it's interesting. Sometimes when people talk about the Holy Trinity, right? So Audemars Piguet, Patek Philippe, and Vacheron Constantin, there is sometimes the perception that Vacheron is in some ways the most traditional, or how should I, the most old-fashioned.
Yeah.
But in fact, and a lot of times maybe you get that perception because you have such extraordinary heritage in terms of museum pieces and so on. But if I look at the brand today, I would say actually quite the opposite. I would say you're the most innovative, and in some ways the coolest, right? Because the ideas are so fresh, you know.
Yeah, and the sheer variety.
And I think that's what's fun about the brand.
Yeah, so in a way, the most venerable and hop company of fine watchmaking.
It's like us, old but cool.
I'm getting older as well.
Guys, there you have it. Right. Thank you very much for joining us. Christian Selmoni, you're the best, sir. Yeah. Thank you, Jeremiah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Christian.
Hey, thank you, man.
Well done, sir.
Thank you.
Cheers. Old but cool.
Oh, good. It's always so cool.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah.